The origin of life. How could I properly pay homage to our continent? It has and always will uphold the power of its rich culture, its abundance, and its longevity. We are tied to the roots of our motherland. Beauty and class, we embody femininity and present womanhood in spirit. Beyond appearance and beyond the body, we are union and empowerment in essence. It is necessary to take the time to respect and remember Africa's long, rich history. Because Africa is so much more than what we learn about in textbooks or what we hear in the media. We must reflect and journey through time to remind ourselves of our strength, power, and persistent spirit. Gold, ivory, silk, and cloth are abundant in the lands of the Mali Empire. The army, notoriously known to be intimidating and ruthless, paired with its strategy and intelligence of the Emperor Mansa Musa, not only protected these precious metals, but also stretched the trading routes for these resources to be battered in every corner of the globe. The people know of the power and value of the resources flowing through the land, but they are content with preserving these gifts for generations to come. However, goods were not the only thing flowing in and out of Mali. This empire's capital, Timbuktu, was an influential hub for knowledge. It helped spread Islam across the region and all throughout Africa. This is one of the reasons why Islam is so prevalent in the continent today. Islam was not only prevalent in the Mali Empire, but it also spread to the Egyptian Empire. Here, we can find important Islamic monuments, such as the tomb of Abbasid caliphs and mausoleum of Imam al-Shafi. In the center of this empire was Cairo. To ancient Egyptians, the luxurious things they made, from the intricate statues to the opulent tombs, were not art, but simply made for practical purposes. The statues created were also used to pay respect and show adoration to Egyptian spirits or gods. Another aspect of Egyptian culture was dance. Dances were used to celebrate births, marriages, and royal functions. Egyptian dances often reflected their culture's core values of harmony and balance. In close proximity to the Akan people were the Wolof Empire. This empire was also known as the Jollof Empire and spanned from the Gambia River to the Senegalese River. Known for its success trade in gold, ivory, horses, salt, and cotton textiles, this group first traded with the Portuguese. Due to the abundance of gold and iron in their land, the Wolof people became skilled blacksmiths, creating jewelry, pottery, and tools. sacred king. Royalty and power flowed through him like a fine wine. Leader and fighter for his people to maintain the quintessential wealth they hold. Wealth to be seen in resources and in belief. Culture that is consistently sacrificed for must win in the end, being given to each new generation, presented and wrapped in silk like a gift. This destination must always be reached, as the youth will one day become the soldiers and the elders that hold the fate of the community. They thank Onyame for the creation of lands, bountiful hills, and fertile grounds that sustain people. Blessings, green fields, and plush forests that can only be described through the vigorous will of the Creator. Provision that has authorized central trading routes, with gold at the center of it all. The gold that feeds the kingdom flows through the land as a silk dress would a beautiful woman. Trade was spreading rapidly at this time, thus demonstrating the increasing influence of the Gold Coast. Trading with the Europeans led to an increased availability of various materials and textiles. The clothing of the Akan people has long since been a sign of class and status. Lapas was worn by the women with proud bare chests, but they were looked down upon by Europeans who pushed the use of a blouse or other coverings that would become more civilized. A bare right shoulder would later signify class, age, and stature. Married women would also wear this style as a symbol of their wedding status. Ntaman, a large cloth worn by upper-class men, were worn in a way that made it more difficult to move. It was this restriction that reinforced their place in society, as they did not need to move very much, being men of nobility. Kente became a powerful symbol of status and regality that still remains a staple cloth in the region. Wearing the cloth, in a way, allows people to wear a cover of the Ashanti power and pride. Even in the production of the cloth, there was a deciding division. Men creating more expensive Kente cloth and women producing cheaper cloth. Europeans came to Africa under the guise of benevolence, friendship, and religion. They approached the chiefs of various tribes, offering firearms, alcohol, and textile, promising victory in their ongoing intertribal wars. Seduced by the promise of more land and power, in the Ashanti Empire, chiefs would often trade intertribal war captives for more firearms and gunpowder from the British. Encouraged by the relationship formed between themselves and the chiefs, the British began to defy the established terms and kidnapped Africans for slave trade. Like the Trojan horse that destroyed mighty warriors from within their kingdom, the influence of the Europeans was initially presented as a gift. Secrets of decorum and protection from their enemies that turned out to be methods of oppression, exploitation, and extermination. By the 1800s, slave trade was at its peak. Africans were now aware of the kidnappings and transportation of their people to a new land. People became more cautious and knew what it meant when they saw the Oyibo people coming their way. In the Ashanti Empire, Africans would be taken to Elmina Castle, while in the present-day Senegal, they would be taken to Gori Island. Both Elmina Castle and Gori Island have the door of no return. Through these doors, the identity of Africans would change from taken from our motherland by force. Africans were dispersed all over the world. Slave ships were vessels of terror, as Africans were forced and packed into revolting conditions that caused them to be physically ill. The mental and spiritual ills came from the rape, loss of family members, and fear that coupled their inability to mourn, which depressed them. Arriving at their destination, Africans faced inhumane treatment that would continue for decades. In the Americas, slaves were overworked, forced to live in environments that degraded them mentally, emotionally, and physically. Through separation of families, branding, slave auctions, and working an average of 20 hours a day, the treatment of Africans was dehumanizing and unacceptable.
Take the shackles off my feet. Make I go, make I go. It's a battle with the beast. Take your shield, here we go.
Oh, you're Togolese? I went on vacation in Kenya once and it was a spiritual journey. When I step up, they say step back. What is assertive on him is aggressive on me. I spoke up and they told me to quiet down, to not disturb the workplace environment. After my presentation, my coworkers were so surprised at how proper I spoke. When I speak about what I go through, I'm told to stop making everything a race issue and to be more positive. They asked me what I was going to do about my hair and deemed it unprofessional. I'm told to come to a later interview when my hair has been taken care of. They see my straight face and say it's a rude face and must be corrected. They heard my accent and assumed I was not intelligent or equipped for the task. I work twice as hard as my counterparts to still not be taken seriously. I said hi and they assumed I was here because of affirmative action. After years of oppression and subjugation, brutality and injustice, it was past time to fight against segregation, unequal treatment, and discrimination in America. This took place in stages. Our fight for our rights began with the courts with civil rights movement led by Dr. Martin Luther King. It would later transform to the Black Power movement, which was primarily led by the younger, everyday citizens. Despite the odds being against us, we continued to contribute to technological advances, to innovations, and set standard in every creative aspect.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing all of us.
Factory musique, allez Zikabaon, allez Zikabaon, allez Zikabaon, Zikabaon, le PDG David Boucher, allez Zikabaon, 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 mélanger la tuela, c'est cabon, c'est cabon, c'est cabon, c'est comme ça on danse, c'est cabon, c'est cabon, c'est cabon, le, c'est cabon, voilà c'est comme ça, gaspiller le coin. Yann Cédric, le moto, africain, gaspiller le coin. Préfet Charaoui, autorité pédestre. Procureur Valégas, recevez l'avocat de la Servikaya.
We can go.
Èmi náà sọ pé mi ò wọ́n bẹ́ẹ̀ nígbà tó ń fún lóyún. Ṣé mi pé mo parọ́? Ó mi pé ó ṣẹlẹ̀. Ó mi pé ó ṣẹlẹ̀.
Another guilty plea.
Ìyábọ̀ sọ pé Akíntúndé ló fún òun lóyún o. Èmi náà sọ pé mi ò wọ́n bẹ́ẹ̀ nígbà tó ń fún lóyún. Ìwọ náà ka tíkè. Ìwọ náà ka tíkè. Oya, take a walk, shake it, ṣẹ̀kẹ̀, Fábúlò wá sọ fún mi, nígbà tó ní ṣe ìwádìí, àgbà, kí ló wọ́ máa ṣòfófó,
Another guilty plea.
You see, you are guilty. You are talking about me. We shall see. Shebi, they talk my case.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now.
This is Nigeria, just because I'm on TV now. Person who no get work is checking to see if my watch is original. This is Nigeria.
Whether it be through our popular Afrobeats or dance and fashion trends, we are still facing problems in our homes. Issues such as police brutality in both Africa and America are affecting our people still to this day. And we have seen in the current news with SARS in Nigeria and the systematic killing and dehumanization of people in America. We must realize that our current Black Lives Matter movement, which originated in America, does not only refer to Black people in America, but are people all over the world.
Since we met you people 500 years ago, look at us. We've given everything. You are still taking. In exchange for that, we have got nothing. Nothing. And you know it. But don't you think that this is over now? Over where?
Olúwàmọ́nà bí tùjẹ́ o iná iná mi tó ti tàn iná iná mi tó ti tàn kò dẹ́ ní bàjẹ́ o kò dẹ́ ní bàjẹ́ o kò dẹ́ ní bàjẹ́ o. I no wan talk to you, wetin dey happen o, na me dem wan stop you, mission impossible. When the money come, people plenty come. When the money not there, they look.
We have been ruthless warriors, kingdom builders, and fighters of colonization. They suffocated our land with the hand of religion and tried to justify their sins with the promises of good intentions. They forced us to build the world they stand on today. They stand on a pedestal made of the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. And though they tried to deny our competence, they could not deny our usefulness, our power, our beauty. The food, music, and fashion of the world today is largely a result of our innovation, regardless of where you have decided to call home, by force or by choice. we have planted seeds of influence and created a culture of our own. However, we are still haunted by the horrors of our past. The instability, corruption, and evil created centuries ago are still hurting the people of our continent. Back home, we are fighting against police brutality, genocides, gender violence, rape, human trafficking, and many more atrocities. We must fight to ensure the youths of tomorrow have a safe place to stay. They deserve this and so much more. This is why we need organizations like Project Safety Net that will provide opportunities for both need and equal opportunities for every individual. We must take a stance. History must not repeat itself. We cannot sit by and passively allow for the murder and dismissal of our people. We have the power and the knowledge to educate ourselves as well as those around us on what is going on in our continent. But we must take a stance. We have been beaten. We have been brutalized. We have been stolen from, and yet we still stand here strong. We leave footsteps everywhere we go. We persist to persevere, but we must take a stance.
From the Niger Delta to all the corners of Africa, America, and the world, Black people are turning the tables, taking back our place. We will be heard because we matter.
Anywhere I go, mo láti padà sílé mi. 'Cause my mommy won't want to leave me. I know one me person tell me say I'm too lazy. Oluwa bona of leleni. As I dey hustle, like I dey buy your okun lazy. No go talk, say me I'm too lazy. Anywhere I go, mo láti padà sílé mi. 'Cause my mommy won't want to leave me. Funkilla, 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 funkilla. I go show you wonder what it wonderful. You not go believe what it won't happen. No disturb us when the bed do one catch you. Like you dey sleep, but this one pass you. Hunger. I think bed do don't start conjure. From your feet all over conjure. With somebody that I conjure. 'Cause I'm feeling it in my soul.